Hello, Bronco fans and football fans alike. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown, Week 14 post-game between the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Well, I have to say that game yesterday was probably the best Bronco game they played all year because it was offense, defense, and special teams were at their best. The special teams got started off right away. Before I get into that, though, the final score was Denver 32, Carolina 27. Now, it was a lot closer than I thought it would be, considering that the Broncos had two times during the game they had 15-point leads. But when you have two 4-8 teams, the end result is going to be a close game, and that's exactly what it was. Now, special teams got the Broncos on the board first. A little over 5 minutes into the first quarter, Deontay Spencer took a punt 83 yards back the other way for his first ever NFL touchdown. It was amazing return. I actually almost bumped into his own man that was blocking for him. And then he found the seam, ran up the left sideline, and the foot race was on. And no one's going to catch Spencer with that speed. And it was a great start to the Bronco game because it literally sparked the entire team. And congratulations to Deontay Spencer for his first NFL touchdown. What an amazing way to get it. Another career, or I should say an actual career high, was Drew Lock. He passed for 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Yes, you heard that correctly. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Wow. Where was that all year? But I'm glad that it looks like he's feeling more comfortable with the offense and Pat Shurmur's game plan, and I'll get into that a little bit more about the game plan that I felt they had to have, and Shurmur put it together. Drew Lock's 4 touchdowns went to 3 different receivers. The first one went to Nick Vanette in the back of the end zone, about a 3-yard pass. It was wide open. Drew Lock saw him and delivered the pass perfectly. The next one was to Tim Patrick along the sideline. I believe there was a 1-yard, and he caught it when he just got his feet in bounds by the left pylon in the front part of the end zone. The last 2 were to KJ Hamler, and Drew Lock showed off the arm strength that's the reason why Elway drafted him. The first one was a 37-yard touchdown pass down the right side. Hamler blew by his defender. The defender kind of stumbled trying to catch him. But when you have KJ Hamler's speed, you're not going to really have that kind of a closure that a defender needs to catch him. And Drew Lock put it right in stride. Hamler didn't have to slow down one bit, caught it about the 10, 12-yard line, and ran it in untouched. The second one was the fourth quarter, and he caught that one down the middle, and he just outran the defender. Drew Lock put the ball right over his shoulder, right into the hands. Again, he didn't have to break stride. He caught it about the 2-yard line, and then was tackled going into the end zone. But it was 2 beautiful passes by Drew Lock. And the reason why those passes worked, along with the Tim Patrick and the Vanette touchdowns, even though they weren't as long by any stretch of the imagination, but they worked because Pat Shurmur put in the game plan that I felt they had to put in. Not that he listened to me, but it's just that I felt what the Broncos needed to do, they actually did that. And if you watch my pregame, I said that the Broncos needed to run the ball and do screen passes, slants, and take underneath passes to open up the passing game. And that's exactly what they did. And they did that about 80% of the time, and it was effective. The screen passes went to Melvin Gordon. He broke off some great runs with the ball. Fumagami had a great screen pass to him on the left side and broke it down the left side for about 28 to 30 yards. That was huge. Those will set up the touchdowns. Melvin Gordon was running great up the middle. He was going off the right side. He was chewing up yardage. He was carrying defenders. He wasn't going down on the first hit or even the second hit. There was one time where he even bounced off a couple of defenders and then gained an extra 8 to 10 yards. So Melvin Gordon ran hard. Now, Philip Lindsay, he got pretty much the same amount of carries in the game. I think it was 11 or 12. But he's not finding the holes. He's not seeing the holes that he has seen in the past. And I'm not sure if that turf toe is still bothering him or he's got some other issue going on that he's not revealing. But he doesn't seem to be gaining the holes and hitting the holes like he had done in the past. But thank goodness that we have Melvin Gordon that is stepping up and proving the reason why Elway signed him to a 2-year contract. The defense also came to play, and they recorded 4 sacks on Teddy Bridgewater. Now, that's huge. Well, any sack is huge in the NFL, but especially on a running quarterback like Teddy Bridgewater. And I also mentioned in my pregame that they needed to keep him in the pocket, to force him into bad decisions, confusion, and hang on the ball too long so that Denver can get to him and either force a bad throw, an interception, a fumble, or sack. And they got 4 sacks on Bridgewater because they came around the end and forced him to hang on the ball and make decisions that were not in the best interest of the Panthers. That put, obviously, Carolina in long second downs, long third downs, and eventually punting. So the Bronco defense came to play. The offense did their part as well. I mentioned the Drew Lock 4 touchdowns and the Melvin Gordon runs and the screen passes. But they also did their job in protecting Lock. He was hit one time, yes, on a free runner on the right side. The offensive line crashed down to the left. A free runner came in on Lock's right side. He had no chance to get away from the hit. He took a solid hit, planted him on his back. The ball was jarred loose. It was picked up, and eventually Jerry Jeudy ran down the defender and tackled him about the 5-yard line. That did result in the Panthers getting a touchdown. They took the lead 7-6, and the reason why it was 7-6 is because Brandon McManus missed 2 extra points in the game. One of them on that 83-yard punt return touchdown. He missed the extra point on that. So that's why the score was 7-6. Panthers' only lead of the game, and that was due to the fumble recovery of Drew Lock. The Broncos also only had 2 penalties. Only 2 penalties the entire game. The entire team, offense and defense, special teams, they came and played hard. They were disciplined and they were focused. And I believe that has a lot to do with last week's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. The reason why I say that is because the Broncos had a chance to beat the Chiefs last week. But they didn't because they made mistakes. They made costly mistakes. They made miscues. You can't do that against a Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs team. They got away with it with the Teddy Bridgewater and Carolina Panthers because they're not the same team, obviously, as the Chiefs. But I believe the Broncos used the Chiefs game and that momentum that they got in that game. And if you recall, I said, was this a moral victory? Now, in some ways, I think it was because they brought that type of A game into the Carolina game. I don't like moral victories because you're still a loss. But in this instance, I think it was a victory because the Broncos used that game and used what they learned in that game and took it into the Carolina game. And Pat Shurmur did the same by utilizing Drew Lock's ability to get out of the pocket, to find receivers, to do checkdowns with the screen pass, to get him out in the open and not keep him in a box that he's not used to. Drew Lock is used to moving away from the pocket and finding the open receivers. Now, he did stay in the pocket quite a bit during the game, but when he felt that he needed to get out and move, the plays were designed for him to do exactly that. Like I mentioned, Brandon McManus missed 2 extra points, and that put the Broncos into trying to go for 2 2-point conversions to make up for those missed extra points. Both of those 2-point conversions failed, and that's why the Broncos had 32 points and not 34. And so by 32, they only won by 5, which was scary in the end, and I'll get to that in a moment. But they did come away with the win, and that's the all-important part. Okay, so with the Broncos leading 32-20 with about 5 minutes left in the game, they went into a zone coverage, which the Panthers used to the full extent of their ability. And Teddy Bridgewater completed 14 out of 14 passes during that stretch. And that almost cost Denver the game. Like I said, leading 32-20, Carolina utilizes those open areas of the zone, marched down the field, scored to make it 32-27. Now, Denver had the ball with a little over, I believe it was about 4 minutes left in the game. And when Carolina kicked off, it was a squib kick, and it didn't go in the end zone. They thought it was going in the end zone, but Spencer had to pick it up, and when he did, he only got it out to about the 5. So that put Denver in a big hole, only leading by 5 points. And on third down, third and about 10, third and 12, Drew Lock goes back to pass. He throws the ball. It hits his own lineman in the back of the helmet, pops up into the air in the end zone. Thank goodness Melvin Gordon caught the pass and was able to get out of the end zone and advance it to about the 6 or 7 yard line. That meant Denver had to punt the ball back to Carolina, back to Bridgewater, and back to the team that just went down the field in about 38 seconds to score the touchdown. But there's more than 38 seconds. There's like 2 minutes and 58 seconds left at this time. So the Broncos had to punt the ball. They punted the ball. Carolina starts moving down the field. They get into, I believe, Denver territory somewhere about the 40-45. Fourth down. Bosby comes up huge. On a pass on the left side, Bosby makes the tackle on the open field receiver, keeps him short of the first down, and Denver takes over. That's the kind of game that I'm telling you guys Denver played yesterday. They were focused. They were aggressive. They were into the game, and they knew this was a game that they desperately wanted to have. They did not want to have another losing season. Now, granted, the record's 5-8. They still have 3 games to go. They play Buffalo on Saturday, and then they have the Los Angeles Chargers, and then they have the Las Vegas Raiders. The only game on the road is going to be the Charger game. That said, it doesn't matter whether at home or on the road. If they win these last 3 games, they finish 500 for the first time in 4 years, and of not being under 500. So that's very, very important to them, and it started in the game against Carolina. Now that brings me to my final comment. The Broncos played a near-perfect game, offense, defense, and special teams. Arguably their best game all year. Now, that's because they utilized Drew Lock's ability with the screen passes, the draw plays, the running ability, the blocking of the offense up front, the defense in getting sacks, the entire game plan, offense, defense, and special teams was exactly what Denver has been needing to do all year. I feel Drew Lock is more comfortable when he is in his element, and that is when he is able to move outside the pocket, when he's able to spot receivers down the field, and when the Broncos utilize their screens, utilize their running backs, and then utilize and take what the defense is giving them. I think Drew Lock is starting to see the game unfold in the way he's used to. That's my take. That's it. That's what I feel, and that's my perspective on this post game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you have. If you haven't, please subscribe. And feel free to comment, positive or negative. I appreciate all comments. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you on Friday on the pregame between the Broncos and Bills. In the meantime, have a great week. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.